Welcome to Alignment First. We're on a mission to bring leaders back to their peace, presence, and power. And I've got the honor and pleasure of jamming with DJ Barton, founder and CEO of ELYT Travel. And shout out to Mark Cassetta and The Leading Edge, because we both come from the school of pay attention, get excited, and never quit. Bro, I really appreciate you being on, and I'm so looking forward to your Cocktails and Connections event this evening.
Yeah, man. First of all, Michael, thank you for having me. It was obviously great to have breakfast with you last week and talk about, right place, right time for me to get a chance to meet you again. I know you and I met briefly last year, probably third quarter, not knowing what we know now about each other. And when we met, we actually were born from the same womb, if you will, when it comes to the world of personal development and entrepreneurship and business. And I'm excited to be here, and it's an honor and I'm grateful. So thank you.
Dude, so good. For context, Monaco, who is Mark's producer and a great friend of both of ours, just posted randomly on my feed that they were here doing their Journey program, which is a week-long workshop in personal growth and development. And it was life-changing for me 20 years ago. And to the extent that at that event, there's a portion of the program where he talks about describing your life in the future as if it's today. And in that portion specifically, and I still have my Journey notebook, I described my wife. And I've shown this to her, and it freaks her the fuck out because that was summer of 2007. I didn't meet her until 2011. We started dating in 2013. And when I showed her the book, and it was like describes her to a T, olive skin, light eyes, dark hair, D1 athlete, ambitious, boom, 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 boom. And I was like, babe, like, I knew it because I drew it, And yeah. So they were at that event, and I was like, dude, is there time? Is there a moment that I can get up there and see Mark and hang out for a bit? And he was like, yeah, man. So he sends me the schedule. I jump up there. He doesn't tell Mark that I'm coming. So I surprise Mark, attaboy, big hug, all that. And, so we go round and round posting this reconnection. And because we had met a couple of the end of last year, it was like, oh, your guy's my guy? Oh, yeah. Let's do this.
Yeah, no, it's great, man. And you just reminded me that I need to go back because I've got 2 Journey books and I haven't looked at them in years. I need to. It's probably
going to blow your mind, dude.
It is, yeah. Because I conceptually remember a few things that I wrote in there that I don't have yet. Just some dreams that I had. Yeah. However, my dreams have changed. Right. And so it's not that I haven't tried to accomplish those. It's just there's pivots in life. When I went to my first Journey, I was 19. No kids.
Wow. Yeah.
I was, at a different I'm 48 now, right? So 19 years old. I went to Mark's first Journey he ever did on his own with The Leading Edge.
No way.
No kids, no wife, single. At 19, you want to have fast cars, nice homes, popping bottles, big boats, all the lifestyle stuff.
We did all that too.
Yeah. And now it's like, I could, quality time with my wife, traveling the world, creating moments, memories. I just spent the weekend with my son golfing in the East Coast. Like it's all about the moments, not the things. Right. And so your dreams change based on where you are throughout the life. So I'm curious to go see what I wrote, what pivots have happened, right?
Dude, I would be so excited and down to, because that's the one that sticks out in my mind. And I've shown this to people that I'm coaching now, like how impactful this exercise really is. I would be so down to compare notes as to what you did way back when and what life looks like now, and how those cosmic dots aligned for you, as they have for me, and just like jam on that cosmic wavelength, man.
I'm gonna pull them both out, man, in the next week or so, and go at night. Just sit on the patio, look at them.
Yeah, man. My wife, it's funny. Sometimes my wife looks at all the memorabilia. I don't have a lot of stuff, but everything that I have can't be replaced.
Right.
You know what I mean? And like I have a chess set from Kuwait, things like that immediately have a story attached to them, and like the couch in the living room doesn't have that. Material possessions don't do that, much to the point that you're making about it's all about the memories and the moments, not so much the accumulation of things. Is there a moment in your life or a season where that shifted, based on what you described at your first journey at 19 years old, popping bottles, fast cars and big houses, to where you're at now, where it's like that golf trip with your son is like everything? Yeah. Is that a byproduct of just fatherhood, or is that also indicative of maturity, whether or not you had kids wouldn't matter?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit of both. I grew up, just to give you some background, my father passed away a month before my 7th birthday. And it was in a plane crash of all things. So it was an accident. And so I grew up in a single parent home. Mom was doing her best. I have a sister, but I was the youngest and had to step up to be, play the man role in the house. Right.
Right.
And so I grew up faster than my years, for sure. And a couple things that are coming to my mind right now is my mom did everything she could, love her to death. She's amazing. But she went through a couple men in her life trying to find Mr. Right. But I think she found Mr. Right now or in the moment,
Right.
And trying to replace that fatherhood that I was missing, if you will. And so I grew up in that single parent home. I met Mark, our mentor, when I was 18. He'd stepped up to be that role model in personal and business. And yes, I became a young father at the age of 22 years of age. I have 3 boys that are, 21, 22, and 26, and I'm 48. So you can do the math. By the time I was 45, they're all over 18. So, I grew up spending my time making money to pay for a lifestyle I didn't know I was going to have at a young age, which was kids in my 20s. Yeah. And I wanted to fill a void that I missed out on as a kid growing up, without having my dad there. And so, being in the moment with my kids are important, but also I met my now wife. I've been with her for since 2010, so 16 years, but I've known her since 2nd grade. Like, we've been friends since 2nd grade. And so when I finally found my soulmate, things changed for me. And it wasn't out chasing things, because I was I don't want to say complacent. I was content with what I got. I found what I wanted in life, and I didn't need to be out there doing that. Right.
Sure.
And so that's when a lot of change for me is in 2010, more so than anything when they were younger, is I found the right soulmate, the right partner who grounded me, because I was definitely wild. And out there and free spirited and doing my thing and traveling, making money, top percent, 1% earner and everything I've done, and on stages around the world doing what we do. And she just, she helps me inspect what I expect. So.
Yes, sir. Yeah. It's funny, man, because as we were reconnecting, it was like, you're in that special camp, that circle of mine where it doesn't matter how much time has gone by. It's almost like we were hanging out yesterday, right? And as I know you to be, you have this capacity to, without losing any steam, just jam for, squeeze 100 hours into a week, And at the same time, it sounds to me that it was very, very front of mind. I need to be present for my boys. So how do you manage raising good men and the amount of production that has been such a constant in your professional life? Because I feel like so many people lead themselves to believe that you have to forego one for the achievement of the other. And it sounds to me, correct me if I'm wrong, you've managed to be successful on both sides of the fence, personally and professionally.
Yeah. So first of all, it's because they have great mothers. And
there you go. Shout out to the moms, 100%.
Yeah, that is first and foremost, because I co-parented with my kids, meaning I wasn't with their mom full time, as when we weren't together. I'm remarried, right? So first and foremost to my exes and their mom definitely played a big part of it, and collaborating. And most people probably wouldn't even talk about that, but I'm just being very straightforward with you on that. So, but also, my kids also saw my work ethic and my drive and my motivation. So you can teach your kids by action or theory, right? And they see better than they hear. And ultimately, they know that I had a work ethic, but I also made time for them and balance and created experiences the entire time. For example, I stopped buying my kids gifts at the holiday season, and I started taking them on experiences. And, my dad, before he passed away, he was really good at taking me and my sister to Disney, to Wisconsin Dells, and, all these different road trips and experiences and camping and all the stuff. No, my mom did some stuff too, but my dad definitely paved the way with those moments. And I remember those deposits in my life. And so I wanted to make sure I did that with my kids as well. So although they saw me on the phone a lot, they saw me going to meetings, I included them in my business because the rewarded all of us. Like, I'll tell you flat out, we used to sit on my bed and watch success stories of people walking across stage in the companies that I was in while they were growing up. And I got their buy-in to that dad was going to walk across stage. And when dad walked across stage, we're going to go do this, whatever that was. And so they were my cheerleaders at the same time, because I told them, hey, when there was some resistance, I said, hey, remember that video we watched in daddy's room and how that person was walking on stage, and you want me to walk on stage? So I can go take you to this location and do these things. So that's why daddy needs to go to this meeting right now. Right. And that reinforcement and different things like that. So that was a big thing along the way. But, we did have a lot of fun on the weekends and nights and doing different things. But then, my now wife, my best friend, played a big role stepping up to being that stepmother, if you will, and also helped me bring them to baseball and football and all the practices. And, we divided and conquered. And so you have to have a team around you.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me ask you, as a father, what's your filter for events and moments beyond the ones that you're creating with and for them that can and cannot be missed on behalf of growing your business?
So knowing what I know now, if I heard you properly, is I missed a lot of events when they were younger. And of course, we believe that they don't remember all the younger events because they're so long ago. And when I look back at my success track and my record, that meeting I had to go do, I really didn't have to go do today, knowing what I know now. Meaning, if I could do it all, I just got the chills talking about it. If knowing what I know now, I probably would I would not miss the moments that were important to them when they were little, because that one meeting, I didn't do it. I didn't do a deal that was a lifer deal at that meeting. And I believe that meeting was everything in the moment. So knowing what I know now, I would take a step back and really ask myself, this one meeting away from my kids' event, is it going to be a life changer where I'm going to be so financially free that I can justify it in my head. And if the answer is no, or you have any ounce of doubt, go to your kids' meeting.
God, oh, I got the chills, dude. There's so much wisdom in that. And I feel like as you're chasing it, building it, out there, making it happen, that filter isn't on for a lot of us. Mm-hmm. And it's that thing, that deathbed conversation that you always hear about. I wish I had gone to my kids' thing, working more, didn't move the needle, blah, 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 blah. It reminds me, because I've spent the last 18 months in this liminal space, moving into this work exclusively. And I had a moment. What resonates with me so much in your wisdom is leaning into the truth of this moment in the monsoon that I talk about quite often. And it's like a Tuesday afternoon. The monsoon is moving through Arizona, and my kids are just going nuts in the rain, having a blast. And my wife and I are on the front porch. And I realized that I had this out-of-body experience where I'm observing myself watching my family. And the realization I had was that if I continue to do business the way I've always done it, I'm not here for this moment. Now, I want to preface the rest of the story with, I'm not delusional in creating this unrealistic expectation that I'm going to be around for everything. That's an impossible standard.
Correct.
And yet the look inward that I had in real time was who do I want to serve? How do I want to serve them? And how do I need to design this practice so that I can be around and create as many of these moments as possible? And that became the end state that justified the business model, not the other way around. And what I'm sensing from you in your wisdom and reflection, that seems to be, if not the explicit intent behind ELYT, but it is definitely implied. Creating a business that creates memories and moments, not just affords you the opportunity to buy more shit.
Yeah, man, I'm listening to you, and it's like I keep getting the chills. It's like we're having to come to Jesus meeting here. Ultimately, but like in my 20s, I was just flashing back because, lifestyle wise, I was driving the 911, the SL 500, the Corvette. I had a $100,000 29-foot fountain boat in my early 20s. Like we were successful. We were doing stuff, right? I was doing meetings 7 times a week, every night, Tuesday, Thursday, 7s, 1 o'clock during the day, Saturday trainings, repeat, right? And it was Sunday you hung out with the
team. they were running the same playbook when I had a desk with Mark, dog.
Yeah. I mean, dude, it was the same. Like,
I do
what we were doing. And then Sundays, we all hung out together, fun days, and we repeated, right? And then after the events on Tuesday and Thursdays, we went out to have some cocktails and, built the culture, the community, the camaraderie. And then we got on road trips and got in buses and did events once a month around. Like, I was all in. And, being a co-founder and CEO of a same company in the same type of industry now, at a 20-some years later, right? For me, it's just a different season where, like if I'm selling somebody to go to that next event, they're like, oh, my kid, it's his choir, it's this, it's that. I would have some confliction going on in my mind because I'd be like, well, either you need the event or the event needs you, right? Are you where you need to be in your life right now? If not, what are you willing to give up to get so you can have more time with that? And I know every question, objection, I can handle any like no one can stump me because we've been doing it 29 years. If you're the quarterback of your favorite sports team, you know the playbook, and no one can stop you, right? We're trained and conditioned assassins in our space, right? Yeah. And so, but in the back of my mind, after I close them to go, I'd be like, you don't really need to. One event's not going to kill you. You know what I mean? Go spend the weekend with your kid because you'll remember it forever, and so will they. I mean, but I can debate it aggressively and persuade you aggressively to come my direction, and I'll win. I'll still win, even know what I know now. And it's not in the best interest for me. It's what I believe the best interest for that person I'm talking to.
Right.
It's not, I don't need you to come to the event. I own a dang company. We're going to do sales with or without your ass. You know what I mean? I just know that big decisions happen in big events, right? So you know the deal, right? All the stuff. However, is I went against my gut a lot of times in my career. And I feel like the gut is like the reality, like your truth test. I really do believe that. Like, you know, in your gut, like, this doesn't feel right, but I'm going to do it anyways. It's like, well, then don't freaking do it because that's not right. But if, like, how many times have you had that gut test? You're like, this fucking feels right. And it was 10 times right. Like, that's your, that's your, everybody has their God, their universe, their whatever you believe in. And for me, I believe in all of that. But I also feel like the spirit that I believe in talks to me through my gut.
Yeah. Oh, dude, all day long. In the work that I do, I'm constantly asking myself, am I trying to rationalize this from the neck up, or do I know this or feel this to be true, neck down, heart and gut? And
man.
It's, to your point, the extreme majority of the time when you go against your heart and your gut, you get a less than desirable result.
Yeah, and I'm fighting a few of those right now.
It's one of those things where I love this father entrepreneur dynamic that we're spinning on right now, because you can, if you go that route and you trust your heart and your gut, you'll be at everything you need to be at for your kid. And you'll be at everything that you need to be at to create the life.
Yeah.
And from the neck up, there will be resistance and conflict, but that doesn't exist down here. And I find that, to say that out loud as that's coming to me, that feels so honest, because when I went to Journey 20 years ago, I had no business being in that room. I couldn't fucking afford to be there. And it changed everything about my life. When I met Mark, I was in a 3-year negative spiral that I didn't know that I was in. And when I started working with him and the leading edge, and really got my head out of my ass in the game of life, dude, there was all kinds of stuff that I didn't feel prepared for. Dude, I'm so happy social media wasn't around when I was given those first handful of presentations. Oh, I tell you what, if any of that footage existed today, I wouldn't have a podcast. It's devastating. It was awful.
Oh, I can imagine.
But you got to get the rep, Right. And I was surrounded by a cast of characters that were like, yeah, dude, you screwed the pooch on that one. But guess what?
Yeah.
You're going to do it again tomorrow.
Yeah. That's how we did it, man. I remember my first presentation very, very distinctly, very clearly, man. I mean, I was in Dallas, Texas, and Mark, there was 100 people in the room. And Mark said, I remember Mark, with the music's going before the meeting, right? We're all working the room, doing our thing, introducing everybody, forming them, all the stuff. And I go back in the back of into the office part, and Mark's prepping in his mind. I'm like, hey, man, you're going to crush it. Go kick ass. See you when it's over. And he's like, actually, he goes, you're going to kick ass. I'll see you when it's over. And I was like, no, you're good, man. You got this, you know. And we're negotiating in the back, like my heart's starting to race. It's like pumping out of my chest. I'm sweating. He's like, you got this. I'm like, no, I don't got this. I have no idea even how to do it. I've never done a presentation. I've never done a public speaking. I've had checks over $12,000 and I still haven't done a presentation. And I was like, I forgot even what company we were in. You know, like I started losing everything, all the things. He goes, you got this. And I was like, no. And he walked out of the room, like literally out of the complete office. Like and the music turned off and they're all waiting. So I had to go up there. And what normally takes, you know, a 30-minute presentation, I think it took 6 minutes. I don't know. It was minimal. And it was minimal, but obviously at the end I brought Mark up to close it, and you know it worked out. And like to your point, he just said you're up again the next day, and you know then finally now we've done things in arenas of 20,000 people, right? And but that's a good mentor, that's a good coach, that's a good leader. Is putting people in uncomfortable decisions so that way they get results they've never had, right? And it's hard to see the picture when you're in the frame. And it's nice to have people that believe in you when you didn't believe in yourself, because, I was a broken, growing up with, the way I did. And Mark really helped me with personal development and mentorship and love and caring and saw something in me that I couldn't see at the time. You know what I mean? So ultimately, thank God for him.
Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, never mind the business building end of it. What are the things that you look for in the people that you invest time in from a mentorship capacity?
Yeah. For me as a mentor, what do I look for? To me, there's buying signs. There's hunger signs. I don't look at their bank account when they start with me. I give tasks to see if they do them without me having to follow up. Or I'm just checking to see where they're at on the task, or they're reaching back out to me to let me know they're done with it. But ultimately, you can see the spark in somebody's eye that's hungry, that's also deserving, that's willing. I mean, you can tell that there's people internally praying on their hands and knees looking for an opportunity. And when you get good at reading instinct and following your intuition, you just know.
Yeah.
You just know. I don't even know how to explain it. I used to use an analogy in business, like tell me how the event makes you feel when you're in the room and the experience. It's like, well, how do you describe a banana? It tastes like a freaking banana. You just got to try the damn banana, right? And you just have to be in the room. I can't explain the emotion, the transformation, the things that happen in the room, the beliefs. There's something magical that happens. And we've learned how to read into it, your own intuition, your gut, and, reading buying signs and looking in people's eyes, which is to me the door to their soul with what they're looking for. And I actually care about people, and I'm genuine and sincere when I talk to people. I really want to know what's going on in their life, what's holding them back, what makes them tick, all the different things. And based on their response, it's like they don't even know they're being interviewed, but they're being interviewed,
right?
Who I'm going to work with, and I'm just building a friendship and a connection with that individual.
Yeah, it's wild, man, because I can remember if you wanted to get one-on-one with Mark, you had to hit a certain level of production, right? And from what I know now, that's him protecting his energy, right? But there's this, and it lets me know that you're 100% the genuine article in the mentorship category, because what you just explained is also a through line in the best mentors I've ever had. There's always a rite of passage of some sort associated with the entry level to their guidance. Read this book and get back to me. Start producing X amount of dollars and get back to me. Go have that courageous conversation and let me know what shows up. Right. And I will never forget when I had the gym, I was working with, I wanted to work with this cat named Forrest. and another vet, Army Special Operations cat, starting his entrepreneurial journey, was running alongside with me. I was like, dude, you got to meet this guy, Forrest. So we go meet with him, and he's like, hey, go read the E-Myth, which if it's your first exposure, that can be a pretty dense read, but it's in like everybody's top 5, right? And a couple of months go by, I'm working with Forrest and things are great. And I'm like, hey, what happened to, are you working with so-and-so? He's like, no. I was like, why not, man? He's a great dude. He's like, he didn't read the book. You read the book. That's why we're here. And I was like, oh. And then it dawned on me. I was like, oh, Mark did that. DJ does that. Forrest does. Oh, okay. I get it now. I get it now. Sometimes it takes a minute for everything to catch up, you know?
Yeah. I mean, but when you see that sign, you're like, go, that person wants it, man. I mean, you got to pay it forward to that individual, right?
Right. But it also, like, as things shift, you know, like standing on stage with Mark for that brief moment and realizing like, oh, like I'm never going to catch him. I think we're always going to be standing on his shoulders. Right. But still it's like, oh, wow. Like I earned this, you know?
Yeah.
That was very much a full circle moment for me, you know? And what's really interesting about that is as you start to do or fill the role for people that he filled for us, you feel like less of an asshole putting those in the beginning perceived barriers in place and recognize them for what they are. It's a filter that lets me know that you're serious and worth the all in depth that I'm going to come to the table with in coaching and mentorship. And that is an energy that is 100% worth protecting. And in the beginning, it just feels like I'm creating resistance where there shouldn't be any, because I want to help so much, you know?
Yeah. It's funny you say that, or it's interesting, I should say, because you and I personality wise has a lot in common where we do want to help everybody. And we don't have a red cross on our back. Mark didn't have a red cross on his back, and you have to be limited. Now that I understand time is the new rich, and you're limited and you're not promised tomorrow, right? Today is the present, all the things.
Right. Yep.
You have to protect your space. And if you have what somebody else wants, you have to get them to earn it to make it worth your time to serve to them at the same time, because otherwise you just wasted your energy on that individual.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And it's fun going back to something you said triggered something. I don't know if you ever went to one of the View from the Edge trainings. The character.
I went to all of them. I can't remember. There were 4. There was Journey, The View, and I can't remember the other 2, but I've been to all of them.
Yeah. And Forging of Champions was one.
Yep.
I think he called it back then.
Yep.
And so The View was the one. I've been at the first one. I'm actually going to one here next month in June. And but he did a character early on, and it was powerful. It was the Karate Master. Do you remember? Did he ever do the Karate Master with you? Where you mentioned that we'll never, potentially never be as good as what Marcus did, and this, that, and the other. It's like the Karate Master. He had this big bucket of water on stage, and and when you're brand new, he had like a thimble from like Monopoly, right? You just put a little water in it. And you had that much knowledge because you're just a thimble, right? But then you pour it into a shot glass, and the shot glass, you could barely see the water at the bottom because it was just a thimble that poured it in. But the shot glass knows more than the thimble. And then they went to the cup, and then the pitcher, and then the 5-gallon bucket, and so on, right?
Right.
And the Karate Master never teaches his students 100% of everything. It's to always keep that level of respect, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of the things that Mark taught. Is he created a community where you always want more to learn and strive to be the best, and I think it's important to do that too, because you have a lot to give to people. You've got an amazing presence on a podcast. You're doing amazing coaching at such a high level, and you got to protect that aura of what you're doing. And you give them enough, 1%, your 1% is more than what they know. Right. And it's one of the things I've always had in business, because I'm a CEO, co-founder of multiple businesses, and I'm a control freak, A-type personality. Like, I know, just give me the ball, I'll do it kind of attitude. And I've had people say, DJ, I get that, I respect that, but you're not growing. What I mean by that is, if you're like your 100% is so high where you could hire somebody and they could do it at 70% of your 100%, but their 70% is really 100% average.
Right.
You follow that analogy?
Oh yeah.
And so you have to get out of your way to get ahead and grow and do all these things. And that's what some of the things, even today, I'm still working through. But ultimately, you just learn all these things through our journey along the way. With everything that we're doing, it's powerful.
Dude, I remember having a falling out with a coach of mine, and it was bad. And in our last interaction, I was like, dude, where's all this friction coming from? Like, help me understand. Like, we are at the impasse. There's no going back. Things that were said cannot be unsaid, and all of that. And still, like, I'm curious, like, where did I fuck this up? Ownership is one of my 3 pillars. Yeah. And if I can improve as a result of this negative circumstance, at the very least, I want that. He's like, his response to me was, I've for a long time felt like you've been holding back. Like, I don't think that you're invested in my learning anymore. And I had, to the thimble and the bucket analogy, I had to explain to him. I was like, dude, I've taught you everything you know. It's impossible to teach you everything I know. Not because I don't want to, but because the path with which I learned a lot of these things, they're not on your journey. So they don't apply in the same way that they were required for my learning. So this isn't me not being transparent. This isn't me holding back or withholding knowledge from you. But I really feel like that's a key component of wisdom, is like knowing what fits and what no longer applies and or is outdated. And if you're not in tune with the evolution of your awareness, you could miss that really easily. Yeah. And as I say that, what's showing up for you?
The first thing I just came to my mind is things are not taught, they're caught. Is the first thing that came to my mind. Is that, when the student's ready, the teacher appears, right? And also, the third thought that came to my mind is that you can only learn so much from so many people, and it's time to divorce the past to marry your future, to go to the next mentor in your life. And I've done that with a few mentors in my life, where I've reached that the lid law, right? I forget who coaches on that, but the leadership lid, right? And so then once I hit that lid, I go to the next mentor, and so I can keep growing, right? And it's not that I hit a lid where I can't learn from that person, but if they keep teaching the same thing over and over again, you've mastered that, and now I got to go learn some more things, but take that with me so I can go, because we're all different people on our journey at different levels. Like, I'm 48 and I look at things differently than I did when I was 28 and 22 when I had my first child, and all the things, right? And my life perspective is different today. Like, I don't need a 29-foot fountain boat and 3 badass cars and all the stuff, right? So It's not what it's about today. Now, although I do eventually we'll do another boat again because, I follow all these IG, like Havasu videos, and I want one now again. So, but ultimately, it's just we're all at different stages, right? And we learn, at different levels from different people, and we have to keep adapting and growing and learning.
Yeah. One of the things I took from Mark was this concept of taking life for a test drive. And I feel like it's runs parallel to this concept of the second mountain. Have you read that book?
Not yet.
In it, he describes, this aspirational achievement, of all the things, when only to realize that it's the moments that actually matter, that it's the journey that's most important, not the destination, right? You get to the top of one mountain only to realize there's a bigger mountain, the second mountain, right? Mm-hmm. That's the concept. And I'm curious, did you have a second mountain moment? Like, I have all this stuff now, I have all the things, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. Like, that's not actually what I was looking for.
Isn't it interesting how you want what you don't have, and then when you get it, you're like, oh, it ain't all that.
I don't want to have this conversation from an esoteric place of privilege, because to have it is important. To have done the things required to get it is important. So I don't want to dismiss the achievement.
Right.
But at the end of the day, to realize what's truly important in that deathbed conversation and to live in that right now, I'm curious from your perspective, where is the energetic balance of those two things, the material abundance and the creation of moments?
So, good question. I talk about this very regularly and openly in meetings that I do. Mm-hmm. And going to the deathbed, there's two things people talk about: mom and dad, brother, sister, wife, husband, whoever's surrounding you. Mm-hmm. They talk about the remember whens. Remember when we went to Disney for the first time. Remember when you pulled me up on the boat for the first time and I dropped a ski and was skiing on one ski versus two, right? Remember when my first snowmobile ride as a family up in Minnesota, right? Remember when mom dropped me off at camp for the first time and I get to spend 2 weeks in the wilderness to go do guy stuff because I didn't get to do guy stuff growing up. Remember whens, right? Mm-hmm. And you can fill in your remember whens. I'm just, giving you a few, right? Mm-hmm. And there's more remember whens now because I have kids. I'm just telling you my remember whens as a kid, right?
Yeah.
But now the other thing is, I wish I could have done more of this with blank. And then that's where all the regrets start to set in. Mm-hmm. And you can't take the house, the cars, the watch, all the things with you, but you take the experience, the moments, and the memories. And that's why the industry I'm in, the company I'm in, the product we do, all the things, our mission is all around the remember wins. And I wish we could do more of those things. And that's really, really what matters. Now, 19, 20, 21, you're not thinking that. You're invincible, you're unstoppable, and popping bottles and driving fast cars and, doing the thing you're doing, right? Mm-hmm. But, we're dating ourselves. But the truth is none of that matters and nobody cares. And even the people that you did that with, it was fun in the moment, but they don't care either. Yeah, they really don't. Mm-hmm. It's a facade. It's a smoke and mirrors. It's it's all the stuff. I mean, like my wife and I, we do very well, and we live very, below our means. Like literally, if I told you, but we like spending our money on foodie things, going out to have dinner and laugh and moments. Traveling, creating experiences and memories. Her and I, she's my best friend. Yeah. And we like to go do things together. Like after this podcast, I'm taking 90 minutes before an event tonight. We're going for a walk. We walk for 90 minutes every day together and do our thing. And that's the moment. So that to me is worth more valuable than having another 9/11. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it just changes. And when it changes, I don't know if that's called growth, maturity, pulling your head out of your ass. I don't know what the verbiage may be, but again, when the student's ready, as we learned, the teacher will appear, right?
It's said that the most important investment you'll ever make is the person that you spend the rest of your life with, right?
That's true.
The most important decision you'll ever make is that person. And one of the things that I celebrate my wife for is her willingness, the agreement that we've made between each other to play the same game. And we've been married 11 years. Our son just turned 10. Our daughter just turned 8. And over the course of those 11 years, we've agreed that we're going to do our best to not operate in the here and now on an outdated agreement, right? And I'm curious, how does that look in your relationship so that you're on the most current operating system? You're not, trying to run on, we're totally dating ourselves. I'm totally dating myself right now because I don't speak tech, but you're not trying to run on Windows 95 when you really should be on XP.
Yeah, no, that's a good question. So, we all, we're at different maturity levels, right? And with what we're doing. Okay.
Yep.
And ultimately, when you find that, like you're talking about your spouse, as I was talking about mine, right? And when you find the exact person you're supposed to be with, life changes. You're not searching for that next thing or that next deal or that next thing. It's like you are happy. Now go build a life around that base, right? I don't know if I'm like, once you find it, like, okay, this is what I've been searching for. Now let's build the life around it and make it strong and protect it and grow it and do the things that we want to do with it. And so it's just, I never thought that way growing up in business or as a kid. It was always about more, which I want more, but it's different. It's not more of what I don't have. It's more success to keep what I have to make it stronger.
Yeah. So you're leveraging your capacity to strengthen the scaffolding around what's really important. Is that is that a great is that a good paraphrase for what you're trying to say?
Yeah, basically making the foundation stronger so it can't be broken. Yeah. And you need more, like, to me, it's like, financially, success is like oxygen. We've heard it. We all need more of it. It ranks up there. Like, don't get me wrong. I want to make a lot more money than I have right now, but it's not for the wrong intentions. It's not because I want another vehicle or another materialistic thing. I want to, now I take the money I make and I'm spreading it out so I can make more money with the money I make versus buying a declining asset. Right. Because it makes me feel good. Right.
Right. Yeah.
Like I'm invested as a hard money lender. I'm investing in the S&P. I'm investing in, some big boy investments. You have to have a certain amount of money and even play in all these different things. And, they say there's a saying in business that we've heard for a long time and people hear it, but they don't hear it. And the more money you make, the more money you make. And it opens up more rooms. And there's a different life waiting for you when you pull your head out and get out of your own way, right? It's just the reality. And when you get in the right circles and they're like, you can make this amount of percentage and it's not guaranteed, but it's pretty much guaranteed. And it's way more than what you can imagine because you're investing in things that will never go away, right? That in the world that they need money for, and they pay you a ridiculous amount of money on your money to use your money to do it, right? Things like that. And it just opens up more doors. And so the whole goal is once you find the foundation and build around it, now it's just building the walls to protect it.
Dude, what a noble intention. And dude, it is so lost on people. You know, they get, I see it all the time. And that reframe is so important. You know, what are you doing this for? There's why you got started and there's why you stay in the game. And I think what's really important is understanding why you stay in the game. Again, going to this whole update and upgrade of agreements with self and your circles of influence concept. What got you started isn't necessarily why you stay.
No.
And the sooner that you, and that's a maturity and a wisdom thing, because so many of us get started, particularly when we're young, you know, to prove something in spite of something, right? And then all of a sudden that runs out of gas. And you're wondering why things stall out or begin to decline or no longer are fulfilling or whatever. You haven't updated and upgraded those agreements. And I was just having a conversation with a buddy of mine. He was like, dude, the gym, what happened? I was like, I did everything I wanted to do with that thing. Mm-hmm. I left the Marines. I got it started. 4 years later, we were the #1 CrossFit box in America. And for over a decade, it supported my family. Like, I won the game. Mm-hmm. And for me, there was on that. And where it started to really eat at me and become a negative return was like there was nothing for me beyond that. And I got to this place, as I was explaining it to my buddy yesterday, it wasn't that I wanted to quit that, but what I'm doing now, okay, I'd rather be doing this than that. And it just really comes back to what you said earlier about divorcing your past so that you can marry your future. And I'm so curious how many of those moments you've had, because it's those moments that perpetuate people's misery because they won't divorce their past to marry their future.
It's one of the most important things you have to do. You have to, if you think of pruning trees, bushes, gardening, you have to trim to grow, right? You got to take a step back to go 2 steps forward, right? All the things. Mm-hmm. So you have to get rid of what's holding you back to go forward in life that's waiting for you on the other side. Like some people stay in relationships longer than they should and are miserable because they don't know what else could be out there. But your next best life is going to be out there waiting for you. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're stuck in a job or a career or a company, a group, an organization, and it's just you're not feeling it anymore, but you feel like you'll be outcasted if you leave, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to be outcasted, but you do it anywaes, right? That's just the way it goes. It's like, do you want to be miserable or outcasted? Because you can always go be happy and outcasted. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's like, to me, it's just like, you have to, that whole inspect what you expect kind of concept. If you're a leader or a business owner or a CEO, whatever, you have to, the whole live by the sword, die by the sword. You also have to live by what you're teaching and preaching in your own life. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. And it's funny, man, because, there's a lot of defining moments in people's lives, and this divorcing your past to marry your future, I'm doing that now with a few different things. Mm-hmm. And I'm happily signing the papers, like to do that. Yeah. And it's, it's not, popular decisions or, impopular decisions are not popular, voted by the popular, meaning you have to do things that are uncomfortable to become comfortable. You have to do things that are unpopular to become popular, right? Mm-hmm. And the two-a-days, the sports athletes, you're in one of the best shapes of people look up to you and I want to be like that, right? It's the two-a-days. It's what are you doing behind closed doors? What are you putting in your body? What are you not putting in your body? Right. All the different things. So that way on game day, Sunday, Saturday for the athletes, that's what everybody wants, is to be on Sunday night football. But it's like, what are you willing to do in the off season? What are you willing to do to prep, for preparation? What are you willing to eat and not drink and not, drink and all the different things? Most people aren't willing to do that kind of stuff. They just want the accolades and the achievements and walk across that stage I talked about with my kids. Right. It's like, you got to go put the reps in and do the time and be persistent and consistent and keep doing it.
Oh man, it's rare. And let me know if this rings true for you. The better you get at the game of life, the smaller the rooms become.
100%. 100%.
Do you feel like the idea of that scares people away from the success that they're capable of achieving?
Yeah, it's a lot of people are afraid of change. People are afraid of loneliness. And I have friends that make unbelievable amounts of money. Like you couldn't even spend their money. And the rooms are smaller, but they're better. And they're different conversations, more intelligent conversations. They're not talking about the frat party and this, that, and the other of what most people think is important. They're talking about family values, business values, what can they do to grow and improve and become better, and forward thinking, and how can we invest and do this, and what would that do for all the people and the jobs. And, there's so many things that happen in the smaller rooms. It's unbelievable. And the smaller the rooms, the better the relationships. In fact, I believe the relationships become more real.
Yeah. In the world of business, I think this is really interesting because we like to lead ourselves to believe that it's different. The things that makes the Marines, sports teams is also true in the world of business and aligned leadership, in that when I know what you've been through, we have the leading edge in common, right? DJ comes to the table with already vetted. Like, there are questions I don't need to ask you because I already know how you're going to answer them, because we were taught in the same system, right? We both had shit first presentations, and there's something to be said. And those communities are small compared to the field, right? And it's really interesting, all the things that come along with that, and the rooms that you're building, I'm building, that we stand in, right? What's genuinely interesting about all of that to me is people's resistance to what's required to be in those rooms. Because the only thing that's required is an intrinsic expectation of excellence. Are we all out here trying to win championships? Cool. Because if we are, then it's incumbent upon us, DJ to Michael, Michael to DJ, when you're messing up or coming up short or not doing the thing that you're supposed to be doing, by virtue of being in this room, in this conversation, I automatically know I have your permission to hold you accountable.
Yes.
And that fucks people up because it's not normal.
People don't want to be held accountable. Because that means they have to perform, not just talk. They got to actually do. And my grandfather, used to say, "Hey, talk is cheap, whiskey costs money." And
that is A statement of a generation right there.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. But it's true. It's like, it's like the whole put up or shut up, right? Like that's the mantra. And so many people talk a good game, especially with social media. And, I run successful networking communities out there, and I have to sift through the bullshit. Like, is this person real? Is he a great talker? Is she a good talker, smooth talker? Do the looks oversee their voice? All the different, like I have to, there's a game going on in the world. You got to make sure that that's real, that they're real behind the curtain, right? And not just putting up a facade. So, I do the litmus test and the things that I do to, do the sniff test, right? And but when it comes to, playing the game, most people rather watch from the crowd, and they really don't want. They rather just hope to pay for one lottery ticket and win that sucker, and life they just go on cruise control. But that's not how it works, right?
Right.
And it's interesting, and that goes back to the small rooms, man. I mean, everybody that's in the small room is just like you. That's why you're in that room. You gravitate to those people because they did what you did to get to that room, so you can actually relate, and they're legit, real people.
Yeah. DJ, I'm honored to be back in your circle, brother. It's great to see you out here thriving, and proximity is king, man. And we're in the neighborhood, so I'm grateful for all of it, man. Where can everybody find you, celebrate you, and learn from you?
Yeah, thank you, man. It's great that we connected, and it was awesome to see you on with Monaco in that picture. I was like, I'm reaching out to him. But so thank you for having me too, man. It's been an honor going back and forth, and you're a stud, and have a lot of respect for what you're doing. You can find me all over social media, man. Instagram, The Real DJ Barton. Same thing on Facebook and LinkedIn, DJ Barton, Real DJ Barton everywhere. And I'm in Arizona. You can follow Connections and Cocktails, run one of the biggest groups in the community. Love to serve, love to pay it forward, love to make the right connections, because one connection can literally change your life, which you and I both know. So,
oh yeah, that's how we got here, man. One connection.
That's it.
I love you,
true
dude.
Statement.
100%.
Likewise, my friend.
For everybody out there, if you're on the mission to be the fittest leader possible, it comes from integrity, courage, and ownership. And all of that is on the foundation of alignment first. We'll see you next time.